Baringo County. And if you can twist your head and remember how Baringo is, you can know that our people, especially the Ilchams, are affected by three things. That's insecurity, the weatherizing of Lake Baringo, and the prosopis. So if you talk of equalization, does it mean that equalization goes to other counties, or equalization goes to the marginalized? Because equalization has to go to the marginalized. And when I see the records, I think my sub-county got the least. We are following the Baringo North, and I'm happy that one of my Mbunge is here. So in our Omba, if it's equalization, bring back to the grassroots. Some of us, we work with these grassroots communities, and we need change from the grassroots, especially from the women. I have not heard voices from the women. Thirdly, please, honorables, give us time to ask you guys the questions so that when you go back to your chambers, you'll be able to take these questions there. Si ati tunakuja ngangania kuuliza maswali hapa na sisi hatuwapati hata Jumamosi hata Jumapili. Tafadhali.
Thank you very much. Good people, we must come to an end of this session, but it is very clear to the organizers of this forum that you need to have a lot of conversations about this financing issue. I think the time we had and the consultations are not enough. I am not going to attempt to summarize, but I'm going to say three things which I think are the takeaway. One was said so many times. I'll be honest with you, you are not speaking with one voice. One person says that we should devolve functions, and one person says we need RDAs. Those two positions are contradictory, because the functions of RDA, I understand the objective of that policy is to devolve them to the county. So do we want those devolve to sort of the constitution or not? Number two, the Ashpal guy said something in a sitting I was in after the new constitution, and I think Okot may have heard it as well. Said the Kenyan constitution is very peculiar. Most constitutions that have been done are elite bargains. It is that's why they are called ceasefire documents between different elites, the black elite and the white elite in South Africa. Also the people in terms of bringing change. Since the Kenyan constitution is unique in that it was imposed on the elites by the people. So the battle for constitutionalism and the constitutional dispensation of the 2010 Constitution did not end with its enactment. It began with the enactment. It sounds like the people of this region have been sitting back, waiting for the Constitution or the elite who it was imposed on to be nice people. They are not nice people. That is why they have been clawing back. So, if you don't utilize that space to fight and sit down and say it is the duty of the national government, you will wait another 60 years. Its purpose is to provide us the space to prosecute the progressive politics that constitution embodies. Finally, let me make a point about debt and where it went. I asked a question in 2014 about the SGR. And I said, why are we building a new railway next to another one? Why aren't we building a new railway on the Lapset corridor? It is on record. I have never gotten an answer. Not a single voice from this region joined that conversation. I said, we don't need to add a railway where we are. Another one, we should actually, if we not build one up through Garissa, we can at least build one from Thika, from Lamu to Thika, because then we can connect with the old railway to Nanyuki, and then that can also connect northern Kenya. That conversation had no traction. Today, we are paying $1 billion a year for the SGR. True, Raphael? So when you ask where did the debts go, it is our single largest and biggest pain point in terms of debt service. Pay attention. The debt burden we have acquired was a way of the national government clawing back power, financial power, that the resources that it had lost to devolution. Because debt is a fast charge on revenue. It's just a roundabout way of doing the same thing. So what does that tell us? The new dispensation is a beginning, not the end. It did not solve our problems. It gave us an opportunity and a framework to fight these battles. But the battles we must fight ourselves. And to begin with, we cannot fight that battles, as Kaul Kaparo said, when we are divided. The pastoral leaders of the pastoral communities must speak with one voice and pursue one agenda. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You want to add something?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to add something very quickly. I think from the conversations that have come out, in our study, we identified the need for the principle of subsidiarity. It is the wearer of the shoe who knows where it pinches. And I think that's why we need to reduce bureaucracy in the management of this fund. There are too many committees, subcommittees, the role of the CS, and that. I think we should take this to the ground, to the grassroots, so that people can decide what projects do we need. Not somebody sitting in Nairobi making the decision for you on the ground. Lastly, and I want to emphasize what David said. I've heard since yesterday here that we are 106, 109 MPs. So what? How come we don't see that, the effect of that voice in parliament? How come we don't see the effect of those 15 marginalized counties, confronting the government, even negotiating? So we are sleeping on our own right. Equity does not aid the indolent.
One answer on the CDF question. Sorry, equalization.
Thank you, D. Mine is just retired Colonel Russo. You asked about what happened to the second policy that Murang'a County found itself out of the 34 counties. Mine is to say, I need to come clear first. As the third commission, the second policy was done by the second commission, not us. When we came to the office, we found that the commission have moved from the first policy to the second policy. Now identifying 34 counties, 1,424 sub-counties. What does that mean? They have moved from the indexes of development index, historical injustice, to unit analysis. And these sub-counties, the last lady who spoke asked, my constituency has less money than the other. Why? The reason is these sub-counties, sub-locations, some are gazetted, some are not gazetted. If your ward or your location or your sub-location is not gazetted, then the CRA, second commission of the CRA, was not identifying those sub-locations to be a beneficiary. The other thing was about also the population. They were looking at the population of the area. So, governors, excellencies, governors, and honorable members of parliament, the assurance I want to give, because you've also challenged whether we are real pastoralists, I want to say, please don't have fear. As much as I come from the pastoralists, I'm a commissioner who want to make sure there is equity in the entire country. But one thing we will not accept is, and we are determined to correct is past injustice, past discrimination that has happened. That will not happen under our watch. I want to give you the assurance, and we've heard you from yesterday night, that you do not want us to implement come up a same policy as the second policy. We also agree with you. We will have extensive public participation. We will have stakeholder engagement. Please, when we invite you as PPG, please have time. I remember FCDC governors have come. They've presented to us. We will still engage. We will go around to the country to also do monitoring and evaluation on the monies that have already disbursed, the project that is undergoing under Equalization Fund. We will look at the challenges. We will see what those projects have done for our people. But the assurance I want to give you as the CRA is, please feel free. Let's move this journey together. Let's work for our people, and know that you have commissioners in office that want to correct the past discrimination that happened in our country. I thank you.
Just hold on, please don't move out, please. We want to thank the moderator for this session, Dr. Ndi and group. Thank you very much. And for the pastoralists, we have had it. You know where I come from, women don't go to war. They don't go to war not because they can't fight. They don't go to war because when they fight, they don't know when to stop. Hello? So I want to urge all of us, when we go back, let us go to war like women. We start with no possibility of stopping in the near future. I think what Dr. Ndi said gave us a real insight into what the government think and treat us like. There is nowhere you will get the truth like the truth you've gotten from Dr. Ndi. So after this, you are breaking for lunch. After lunch, you are going for the breakaway sessions. I plead with us. Let's hear what the breakaway sessions are so that after lunch, instead of coming back here, we go straight to the breakaway sessions.
Thank you very much, Madam Correa, and thank you, Dr. Ndi, and the panelists, able panelists and the experts for taking us through this interesting session. Honorable members in the room, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to provide guidance for the afternoon session. As was mentioned, once we go for lunch, we are not coming back for another plenary. We are breaking out, and we have different tents to address different issues. What we are very lucky about is that the conversation that has taken place here already introduces us to a number of the conversation. And the issues of financing cuts across. From a policy, from finance and resources, all this will be addressed in the different breakout sessions. So I would like to invite your interest in a number of these sessions. We have 6 breakout sessions. The first one is about peace and security, finding lasting solution to community conflict in pastoralist areas. This will be moderated by Honorable Major Deco, who is a member of parliament. This will take place under the venue tent number 1. I'm advised that tent number 1 is somewhere behind here. Then, in that session, there will be a presentation for all the sessions. There will also be discussions, which will be moderated through a panel conversations. And after that, you will be able to distill together what are your resolutions, what are you agreeing on, what are your asks. In each of those sessions, there will be such a moment to be able to distill that, and that information needs to be submitted by end of the session to the team that is working as rapporteurs and the ones who are managing the facilitation, to ensure that they can be able to process that information for the whole team by early morning tomorrow. So that is group number 1. The same procedure applies to group number 2. This will be about pastoralism and livestock sector development. That session is going to take place here at the auditorium immediately after lunch. There will also be presentation, and we will also apply the same method. We need your asks, we need your resolution from that session, This session will be facilitated by Honorable Adan Maji, MP, who will be able to facilitate or moderate that particular session. Please take note, that is the second breakout session. Breakout number 3, securing community land rights, protection of environment and natural resources in pastoralist areas. This will take place in tent number 2. I'm advised is also right behind this building or the Acacia side. This will also be facilitated by Honorable Joseph Lekuton, who is also a member of Parliament. He's not here. Who? Okay, so this will be managed by Protas Akuja. Kindly take note. This is under tent number 2. The same method applies. The fourth one is gender, youth, and emerging issues. This session will also feature aspects of technology. This will take place under tent number 3. Will be facilitated or moderated by Honorable Leah Sankaire, Member of Parliament. I think she's available and very present in the room. This will take place under tent number 3. Please take note of that. Gender issues have not featured very strongly in our discussion, and I know Madam who spoke last brought this to our attention. I kindly encourage that each of the group be able to dissect and give the gender differentiated impact and issues that affect the pastoralist women and men, as well as the youth and other marginalized groups. Group number 5, improving human capital and basic services, will address issues of education, health, and water, but also other related aspects in pastoralist areas. This will take place under tent number 4. Kindly find tent number 4 outside as well. This will be moderated by Honorable Professor Guyo, also a Member of Parliament. Kindly take note of that. Group number 6, last but not the least, bridging the infrastructure gap. I think that has also mentioned here in the plenary session. Accelerating development for resilience, inclusive growth in pastoralist areas. This will be moderated by Honorable Joseph Makilap, MP from Baringo County. Kindly take note, this will take place under tent number 5. The tent number 5, I'm told, is on my immediate right. So please take note of that. Kindly ensure the conversation distills into specific resolutions for action, for policy, and other related areas that would want to make your recommendations on. The sessions will be supported by rapporteurs who will introduce themselves once they come to the specific venues for those specific meetings. Please be guided that we will not be coming back here for plenary. That means our program now shifts to tomorrow morning. But ensure that you are part of a group, one of the breakout sessions. I take note that there are people who are seated outside, some either following the conversation or others are also participating in other conversations. We are here for this purpose. We have been challenged that division doesn't help. If you are here, make sure that we take the moment to address the specific issues of our concern and that we have specific resolutions that can be collected to be able to give the direction as per our collective agenda here is concerned. So for tomorrow morning, the program starts at 9. Please, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, be guided. That is our program for the rest of the afternoon. For now, we break for lunch. We're going to convene after 1 hour in the respective groups. That should be about 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, all the groups must be seated. We will be checking out on you whether you are doing very well. Thank you and have a good lunch. And thank you to the panelists.
Sunag is a Somali name meaning good neighborliness, and we've intentionally used this name so that it inspires and speaks to the aspiration and some of the key things that the project wants to achieve, which is basically setting up a very strong good neighborliness between Kenya, Somalia and Ethiopia borderlands.
The project has 3 outcome areas. The first one is around enhancing research and evidence, and we do that through a lot of field-based research and data collection. The second one is working with government or governing structures, recognizing that along the border, in particular, councils of elders, the religious leaders are key partners in establishing better governance systems and enhancing policies towards peace and stability.
We started out with doing a research piece on the political, economy and conflict analysis of the borderland region. The research looked at who's benefiting from the conflict, who's losing from the conflict. That basically gave us the idea of who we are going to target in our program initiatives. That includes women who have been traditionally excluded from participation, the youth, the minority communities, and the marginalized persons with disabilities.
In Kenya, we cover the northern eastern counties, Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, and then on the coastal region we cover Lamu. The project is implemented by consortium members of Adam Smith International, Royal United Institute, RUSI, and Danish Refugee Council.
For me, fortunately, I've not covered conflict. For the northern region, I've covered hardships, drought, and all that. Probably with this workshop, I'd get to change some of the stereotypes in my head about this place.
One of the projects that we've been doing has been around supporting journalists on conflict-sensitive reporting. We realized that when you get stories out of the Northeast, it's very often about problems, insecurity, and it's always perceived as being in a crisis situation.
This is a region that has for long not just being underreported, but it's a region that has been framed negatively, if I may say, by not just the mainstream media houses, but this is now even cascading down to the digital media.
codka bulshada Wajeer Community Radio ayaa si toosan uga maqlaysaan dhageystayaal meel walba joogtaan waxaan hawada idin ka leenahay.
Our core objective has been to sensitize them and have engagement with them as far as conflict sensitive reporting is concerned, because it will go a long way in making sure that the northern part of this country, the border counties of Lamu, Mandera, Wajir and Garissa, it doesn't just get a fair reporting, but the region also gets accurate kind of reporting.
We saw stories come out from Boni Forest, we saw stories come out from deep inside Garissa County, Mandera, which are quite rare to see. So we are proud of the engagements that we have done and the collaboration we had around that investment.
We are trying to work closely with respective county leadership, both at the national and subnational level, so that we are able to address and making sure that all the support and the work that Gariswanag is doing is anchored somewhere, so that both the counties and the communities will continue doing the good work they're already doing, even post Gariswanag. Gariswanag is a Somali name meaning good neighborliness, and we've intentionally used this name so that it inspires and speaks to the aspiration and some of the key things that the project wants to achieve, which is basically setting up a very strong good neighborliness between Kenya, Somalia and Ethiopia borderlands.
The project has 3 outcome areas. The first one is around enhancing research and evidence, and we do that through a lot of field-based research and data collection. The second one is working with government or governing structures, recognizing that along the border, in particular, councils of elders, the religious leaders are key partners in establishing better governance systems and enhancing policies towards peace and stability.
We started out with doing a research piece on the political, economy and conflict analysis of the borderland region. The research looked at who's benefiting from the conflict, who's losing from the conflict. That basically gave us the idea of who we are going to target in our program initiatives. That includes women who have been traditionally excluded from participation, the youth, the minority communities, and the marginalized persons with disabilities.
In Kenya, we cover the northern eastern counties, Garissa, Wajir, Mandera, and then on the coastal region we cover Lamu. The project is implemented by consortium members of Adam Smith International, Royal United Institute, RUSI, and Danish Refugee Council.
For me, fortunately, I've not covered conflict. For the northern region, I've covered hardships, drought, and all that. Probably with this workshop, I'd get to change some of the stereotypes in my head about this place.
One of the projects that we've been doing has been around supporting journalists on conflict-sensitive reporting. We realized that when you get stories out of the Northeast, it's very often about problems, insecurity, and it's always perceived as being in a crisis situation.
This is a region that has for long not just being underreported, but it's a region that has been framed negatively, if I may say, by not just the mainstream media houses, but this is now even cascading down to the digital media.
FM codka bulshada Wajeer Community Radio ayaa si toos ah nooga maqlaysaan dhageystayaal meel walba joogtaan waxaan hawada idinka leenahay.
Our core objective has been to sensitize them and have engagement with them as far as conflict sensitive reporting is concerned, because it will go a long way in making sure that the northern part of this country, the border counties of Lamu, Mandera, Wajir and Garissa, it doesn't just get a fair reporting, but the region also gets accurate kind of reporting.
We saw stories come out from Bonny Forest, we saw stories come out from deep inside Garissa County, Mandera, which are quite rare to see. So we are proud of the engagements that we have done and the collaboration we had around that investment.
We are trying to work closely with respective county leadership, both at the national and subnational level, so that we're able to address and making sure that all the support and the work that the Reswanag is doing is anchored somewhere, so that both the counties and the communities will continue doing the good work they're already doing, even post the Reswanag.